Hi, my name is Nicole Hickey, and I'm the leader behind Acceptance for All. I chose to pursue my Girl Scout Gold Award project in honor of my brother Nicholas. Growing up, I've watched the world respond to him in different ways, sometimes with curiosity, other times with confusion. Through his eyes, I've learned to see the world differently. His boundless joy, love for others, and challenges have shaped my commitment to fostering inclusion and educating others. As you watch these moments, I hope you see Nicholas the way I do, a loving brother whose life is filled with joy and who, like anyone else, deserves understanding and a space to thrive. Through this project, I aim to build a more understanding and inclusive world for autistic individuals through educating others. Autistic individuals navigate a range of challenges, including communication differences, sensory sensitivities, and a need for more time to process emotions. For example, some may use assistive technology or sign language to communicate. In the following videos, you will see my brother Nicholas using both of these methods.
You want, say it.
I want. Drink Coke.
Oh, yeah.
Coke.
Good job. You're gonna get Coke, okay?
Nicholas, do you want another hot dog?
Attends.
Do you want more?
Attends.
Others rely on noise-canceling headphones, sensory jewelry, fidget toys, or sunglasses to manage their environment. Certain types of lighting, such as bright or strobing lights, can be overstimulating depending on the individual. Overstimulation can manifest in different ways, including withdrawal, discomfort, or even anger. In these moments, raising your voice won't help. Patience and support are key to creating a comfortable space. A common misconception is that autistic individuals prefer isolation. In reality, they seek connection and understanding, just like anyone else. Media often shapes public perceptions of autism, but many portrayals rely on stereotypes rather than authentic representation.
The Good Doctor exemplifies this, as Dr. Sean Murphy is played by Freddie Highmore, a neurotypical actor. Casting autistic actors ensures more accurate, lived-in portrayals, and more importantly, autistic voices should be involved in writing these characters to ensure authenticity. A common stereotype depicts autistic individuals as socially detached geniuses, reinforcing misconceptions that all autistic people have savant-like abilities.
In reality, autism is a spectrum and experiences vary widely. Better representation can be found in Everything's Gonna Be Okay, which features autistic actress Kayla Cromer in her role as the main character, Matilda. True inclusion starts with listening to autistic voices, understanding their experiences, and ensuring representation reflects their realities while combating stereotypes. A lack of education leads to exclusion, with communication differences often misinterpreted. Growing up with Nicholas, I saw how these misconceptions affected him. Recognizing nonverbal communication fosters stronger connections, yet workplaces often overlook autistic strengths. Without education, differences become barriers instead of assets. To truly understand the impact of autism education on inclusion, it's important to hear directly from autistic individuals. My best friend, Ami Lalonde, is here to share her experience. What inclusion looks like for her, the challenges she's faced, and what meaningful support looks like.
Hi, I'm Ami and I have high functioning autism, which means that
I am able to go out in the world and do things, and people won't suspect that I'm autistic or even know, which can be hard for me. And I'm gonna explain how that could be hard, because it might seem like, oh, okay, if it's not apparent, then how could it be an issue, right? Well, in my early childhood, I had a lot of issues regulating my emotions, which is one of the signs of autism, believe it or not. But it's more seen in boys than girls. So we didn't know what was happening. And back then, I guess, they didn't really screen for autism in girls much. So they kind of just diagnosed me with ADHD at first, and then kind of just lumped me in with that group. We took medications, didn't work. We tried things at school, kind of helped, sort of. I don't know. I had to basically personalize my own school experience because the school that I went to didn't really offer a whole lot of options for people with, I guess, autism, and they just weren't very accommodating, sadly. So what we did was we had to set up a system with each of my teachers where I would have a tote bag full of sensory toys. And so if I were feeling anxious or overwhelmed, I could go over there and do stuff. But that wasn't until like third grade when we started like figuring out, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit more different than we originally planned or thought I was. When I was itty bitty baby, I didn't talk till I was like almost 3. So that, I guess, could be a flag. Or a little alarm went off, but it wasn't too much. We found out that I did actually learn sign language before that, but it wasn't till later on when I was like we figured out that I knew sign language one day when I was getting picked up from daycare, and me and the teacher were actually talking using sign language. And so my mom didn't know I knew that. And so she started learning baby sign language. I started, I guess, teaching her, and we kind of just worked together on communication. And that was a big step to like being able to communicate. And then once I was finally able to talk, I was, able to actually communicate. And it made life so much easier.
Advocacy doesn't just impact autistic individuals, it also extends to their families. Dr. Deshauna Reed has dedicated her work to supporting siblings of autistic people. She'll be sharing her perspective on growing up with her autistic sister and her efforts to help families navigate these experiences.
My name is Dr. Deshauna Reed, and I'm an educational consultant and special education advocate. I also am the proud sibling of an individual living with profound autism, also considered autism level 3. My sister Adrienne lives in a group living facility where she's resided for the last 30 years under the care of some incredible direct support staff. I remember back in the 1980s when we moved to Houston in order to be closer to the only facility that was available for my sister's needs in Pasadena. And it was a unique experience. Being a sibling in general to an individual with a disability is a unique one. You also often feel like you have to educate the public about your siblings' disability and also encourage them to focus not just on what they see as limitations, but also what their capabilities are. Adrienne is a very fun and energetic individual. She is hilarious. She's very opinionated about the things that she cares the most about, and she legitimately loves our family. She also loves being out and about and being able to do different things in public. I would say the biggest challenge facing individuals like my sister and caregivers like myself is the fact that there is an emphasis on deficits constantly when it pertains to individuals with disabilities. And also siblings are often completely unprepared for taking on the role of being a caregiver and potential advocate when their parents eventually pass away. And one of the things that I do for my firm and also just in my advocacy work is speak on behalf of fellow siblings, provide them with educational options to understand the importance of knowing the legal, financial, and community resources that are necessary to sustain the care that your sibling is receiving, and also just support to offer them a place where other people understand what it's like to be us. It is a really fun experience, but it also can be really challenging. And so I think that those are the most important elements in ensuring that individuals with disabilities and their family members are well taken care of. The best thing that anyone can do, honestly, is ask questions and do so from a place of sincerity and genuine curiosity. Educate yourself about autism and other neurodevelopmental disabilities, and don't assume that individuals with disabilities cannot communicate or do not have a voice or do not care. They absolutely do, and legitimately just want to be treated like human beings worthy and deserving of respect and dignity.
Making sure autistic students feel included starts with how we treat each other and how teachers support different needs. For students, the biggest thing is respect. That means not making fun of someone, not putting them down, and not pretending you're treating them equally while actually isolating them. Infantilizing someone, treating them like a child, is also a problem. Just because someone communicates differently doesn't mean they should be talked down to. For teachers, awareness and communication are key. Understand that students may need different things and approach those differences with respect. And please talk to parents. They often want to help and can offer insight into how their child communicates and learns best. I'd like to introduce my friend, Kendall Reed, who volunteered at a summer camp called ARC and will be sharing how communities can challenge stereotypes and actively promote neurodiversity.
Good afternoon. My name is Kendall Reed, and I have an aunt with severe autism. She currently lives in a group home and has been living there for about 50 years now. When she first moved in, it was actually the only group home for people of color that also had autism. And just growing up having to go visit her in her home, it was kind of challenging because whenever I wanted to go visit her, I wasn't able to drive at the time. And I would always go with my other aunts to visit her for her birthday, special events, or just come pick her up and take her out to eat. Her favorite place is Dairy Queen. She loves Dairy Queen. And honestly, me too. But a little more about, I came back from being a camp counselor for people with autism and cerebral palsy and everything that falls under that umbrella. It was a very broad spectrum of people, it was people with 19 and up with autism, mostly with autism. And it was just an amazing experience. It was very enlightening, and it taught me a lot. It taught me that how to comfort people when they're not comfortable with doing certain things. We had a lot of challenge courses that if they were comfortable with it and they wanted to push and challenge themselves, they could participate. We had archery, we had a really big swing, we had kayaking, we had fishing and boating. It was just a blast, seeing the smile on their faces. That was the thing they looked most forward to for the whole summer. They were ready to come to camp, and they were ready for the different activities we had, mainly the food, because the food was amazing. It was just, I have no words. It was such a great experience, and I will be doing it again.
My brother Nicholas is the reason why I began this journey. Through his eyes, I've learned what true inclusion means: being heard, respected, and embraced for who you are. Now I challenge you to see through his eyes. Let that vision change how you lead, speak, and show up for others.